With more prop trading firms on the market than ever before, trading multiple prop trading accounts seems like a really appealing idea. Different prop firms have different offerings, reputations, pros, cons, and overall, a trader would be completely justified in questioning whether he can actually get more benefit from trading more than just a single prop trading firm account. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at whether that is the case, and I'm going to give you my personal opinion on whether trading multiple prop trading firm accounts is actually a good idea. So let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. Now, let me give you a very straight and very simple answer right from the beginning. I think it is possible to trade multiple prop trading firm accounts. It can be a good way to reduce your risk exposure, but there are things you have to consider. I think I would leave it at that for now, as it is not just a simple yes or no. It sort of depends on what you're looking for, what you want, and what are your priorities. So let's see what it actually entails. It can be very beneficial to trade with multiple prop trading firms if you have the means to do so. It can, however, be a logistical headache and a bit of a nightmare. So make sure that you have the infrastructure prepared and that you know what you're getting yourself into, because you might actually find out that you've gone a bit deep, and if you don't prepare yourself, you can actually end up losing something. So let me actually start off with a couple of pros and cons of the approach of trading multiple accounts at the same time. The first one is pretty obvious. That's going to be increased profits, right? Because if you trade the same trade across 5 different accounts, you're going to make 5 times as much profit. It scales linearly. It makes sense that if you have more accounts, you can make more profit. The second thing that I would consider a pro is a bit of a decreased risk on the part of the side of the trader. So what I mean by that is that in this day and age, we've seen a couple of prop firms go under. And by spreading your activities between multiple prop trading firms, you are essentially sort of mitigating that risk a little bit. Although here, I think it is incredibly important to point out that it very much depends on the kind of prop trading firm you choose, because I think you're probably better off with one good one than 3 sketchy ones, and you actually might have less risk of losing everything you've invested with that one good prop firm. But I'll leave this sort of to personal opinion. Trust and reputation are somewhat subjective, and therefore I would just want to say, do your due diligence, do your research on the people that you want to work with, and if you find multiple trustworthy prop firms, in that case, I think dividing or having multiple accounts across those prop firms can actually be a good idea. The third bonus is that it doesn't really take all that much effort to do, because these days we live in the age of automation. We live in the computer and the digital age, and you're not going to be manually copying those trades between the accounts, but it's going to be set up to do so automatically. So in the long run, it doesn't cost that much effort. And the fourth and last thing I see as a potential pro is that you get a bit more scaling opportunity. What that means is that most prop firms these days have an account where there's a limit of how much money you can trade, even if you scale up, even if you're successful. But by having accounts with multiple prop trading firms, you can get to multiple of those high levels, and therefore essentially what you can do is increase the total funding that you're able to manage. All right, so those are the pros, but nothing in this world is without its cons, so let's take a look at those. The first thing that I would consider as somewhat of a con is the financial cost that is associated with starting such a setup. Opening prop trading firm accounts with multiple prop trading firms ain't gonna be cheap. If you're opening 3, 4, 5 accounts, each of a few hundred or a few $1,000s, the cost actually adds up pretty quickly. And an important thing to note here is that, like I mentioned before, if you don't do a good job of selecting who you want to work with, which prop firms you end up going with, you're taking a significant amount of risk on the financial side when opening multiple prop trading firm accounts. And that's why I say it's very important to choose the right prop trading firms and to choose trustworthy companies to actually work with, because losing one prop trading firm account because a prop firm goes under is bad. Losing 5 is a lot worse. What I think might be a smarter way to do it is to first start with one prop firm and then use the profits you make to open a second and further accounts. I would be very careful about putting all of my savings into opening 6 different prop firm accounts at once. The second con is the trade copier costs. Unless you are a skilled programmer, you're gonna need some sort of software that copies your trades. Those usually don't come for free, and the costs are definitely something to consider. You will also most likely need to purchase a VPS, and those also don't come for free, but just be wary of the fact that that it has some running costs as well. The third con to this approach is I think a very obvious one, and that is just some prop firms don't allow trade copying. You have to be wary of that, and before you ever attempt anything like this to set up a system where your trades are copied across multiple accounts, just please, this is one thing I want you to listen to, is make sure that all of the prop firms you're working with allow you to copy trades, because if they don't and you're gonna fail your evaluation because you didn't read the rules, that sucks, and that sucks a lot. So just please go and make sure to read the rules regarding trade copying with all of the prop firms you want to work with before you get started. Okay, so we have the pros, we have the cons. Now it's time to actually decide which prop trading firm you might want to work with. So here are a couple of general things to consider when choosing a prop firm. The first is the reputation of the firm. I think that this one is probably the most important one, is, find out what people say about the people you're trying to work with. Do they have a reputation as trustworthy? Do they keep their word? And, what sort of approach to clients they have before? What sort of approach to trading they have? Are they an A-book model? Are they someone who offers simulated accounts and doesn't really care whether you win or lose? Just have a look at who the people you want to work with are. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself here, but I think it's an important point to drive home. The second thing you want to be looking out for is the age of the prop firm. Usually the older the better. I mean, not necessarily, but an age of a prop firm gives it some level of credibility. I wouldn't go just by the age of the prop firm, but it is a helpful indicator in the overall picture. The third, and I think that's a very important one, is look at the customer support of the prop firm you want to work with. How quick are they to respond? What happens if you don't understand something? What happens if maybe you have a problem? Maybe just try talking to their live chat, see how their support is. I know how important this is, as I manage our support team here at Lux Trading Firm, and I think customer support is one of those incredibly important things where it makes it or breaks the experience with any kind of service, and the same thing goes for proprietary trading firms. The fourth thing you want to be looking out for, and I sort of mentioned it in the first point, but you want to be looking at what sort of funding model are they using. Is it a real money prop firm, or is it a simulated account type of prop firm? Ever since the whole MFF fiasco happened, we see how everybody who was using the B-book model has now switched to calling their accounts simulated, which I find incredibly funny, because it wasn't that long ago when everybody was trying to convince you that you were trading real money, and now they can't do that anymore as they're too scared to say it. I'm happy that we at Lux can still say that we trade with real money, because that has always been the case and that will always be the case. But, look at the funding model of the prop firm you want to work with. I personally would stay away from simulated accounts, as there is a significant conflict of interest in my point of view, but I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Just think about what kind of funding model the prop firm has, and definitely weigh that in on your choice. And the last fifth thing to look at is the cost. What is the cost of the evaluation or challenge that you want to be taking a part in, and is it worth it for you? I think that's a pretty simple point there. The cost is definitely something to consider, as like I said in the beginning, if you are opening multiple prop trading firm accounts, you probably want to get something that is a pretty good value, as those costs can add up very quickly. So in summary, is it possible to trade with multiple prop trading firms? I think it is. I think it is possible, and in certain cases it is a good idea. But as with anything, there are things to consider before you go for that. I hope that today's video gave you a little bit of an idea, or a little bit of a framework of how to think about it if you want to trade multiple prop trading firm accounts. Things to look out for, things maybe to do, things not to do, and overall just giving you a picture of what the space looks like. And lastly, it is only worth managing multiple prop trading firm accounts if you are a profitable trader. If you are not at that stage yet where you are a consistently profitable trader, it makes zero sense to buy multiple prop trading firm accounts, because if you're just gonna lose all of them, what is the point? Firstly, focus on getting to that stage of profitability, and only then you want to think about having multiple prop trading firm accounts. But as I said, if you're a beginner, this is not really something you should be considering. consider. And that is pretty much it from me for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe you learned something. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it, share it, drop me a comment down below with your experience of having multiple trading accounts at the same time. Did it work for you? What is your experience? You know, how are you making it work? And if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at our 24/5 live chat, or you can find our contacts at our contact page. Thank you for watching this video. Mine has been Oliver, and have a great one.